Child's play.
Totally wimpy.
Whoa.
Shaken, not stirred. Pepsi Max, full cola taste, no sugar.
Bienvenido. You got it. No, I can't.
Bienvenidos. Welcome to the Pablo verse. We're gonna get it. We're gonna hand it off next time. So, yeah, I mean, tons of shit happening in the world.
Financial collapse, recession part 2.
Yep, that's what you get, right? Like we were saying, you fucking do the ESG shit. That's what you get.
Get woke, get broke.
Hold on, I'm gonna pause. So we basically recorded, said some dank shit. CIA, Mossad, all of them just said no. And
NSA.
It's not because I'm recording on a MacBook Air and I'm running like tons of shit. It's just because
the government said fuck that. They heard our conversation before all this, and they were like, nah, that shit can't happen.
That's right.
So we had a whole conversation about Vikings and everything else, and murder cultures and whatnot. But
yeah,
it's all fucked now. So,
but basically, just like our podcast got abruptly ended, and we had to restart our story. So has mankind. Is basically that was the gist of the conversation.
Yeah, is that pretty much mankind has at least restarted multiple times, and how far did we get into civilization or technological fuck it, man. Technology paths before shit ended and we had to restart, and how savage were cultures, and I mean, you don't have to go that far back to see that like the entirety of human history is pretty much centered in murder and savagery.
Yeah, we were giving props to the Vikings. My
they
dude,
were pretty good at it.
My dude Leif Erikson crushing, just winning the game. Fucking don't give enough credit to the Mongols either. You need to get into the mud flood theory, dude.
The what?
The mud flood theory.
What do you mean?
So it's kind of fucking crazy to see this thing go like slowly branch out. But I got into this shit like 2 years ago. There's people just like pick. I will say I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer for the shit. But they show photos of like America and just people moving tons of fucking dirt and then exposing a lot of like buildings, like the bottoms of buildings. And it's like, well, this building's a lot taller than you thought it was, but it was covered by dirt. Why was it covered by dirt? And then they start showing like older cities like Philadelphia and everything. And it's like, why do you have, quote, basement windows that only have like a fourth or less than a fourth showing? And then like the hill, like I know you could picture it because we've seen it and we just never thought of that, where there's like a hill, but the building is like the 45-degree hill, let's say.
Right, yeah.
And then they're building straight up, but then as the hill goes down, it's like exposing more and more of the windows, the row of windows. So why is there a window that's covered? And then, you see what I'm saying? Like there's like a window at a slope, and then there's a building that's straight up and down that has a straight up and down row of windows. But then as the slope is going down, it's exposing more and more of the windows.
Don't build on a slope.
Yeah, but how did you build?
Fuck, bro.
How
build
did
on
you
a flat surface?
Yeah, but you built it straight up. It's
Yeah.
even, but you still put windows that are covered up by the fucking street.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you might as well.
But what do the windows look to, and why did you? But then when they dig the shit out, supposedly in these photos, when they dig the shit out, it's like, oh, there's like way more to this building. So why was it covered up? And
I think these are hollow Earth people and fucking flat Earth people.
It seems like the logical conclusion for them is to then go that yes, it's flat Earth, but the thing is like their theory is that something happened where
what we just started building houses on houses. I mean, this makes
no
fucking sense.
No. Their theory is that something happened where it created like a mud flood. So
in the fucking 1950s?
No, way before that.
Well, dude, how old
Not
are
the
these
1950s,
houses
1700 or like 1800s and shit. Well, we think they're from the 1800s. So now the question is,
oh Jesus Christ!
So now they're saying like, no, look, something happened when we came to America. America was basically already built. So then this mud flood, and then we just had to dig it up, and that's why you see like these buildings that in the older cities that have this shit because like the windows and shit that don't line up.
Bro, this why?
I mean,
like
the shit we were talking about before the FBI cut us off.
Well, it's yeah. That was way more interesting, but this is now all right. This would not take much research to understand what's going on here, right?
Maybe.
So like you could look at a city like New Orleans or like Charleston, South Carolina, or any of these like French and Spanish inspired cities, right? Okay, and then you could look at the architecture in Spain or in France. You could be like, oh, there's some correlation here.
Yeah, but
so are they saying this happened all around the fucking world?
No. Most of these things are happening where there's like brownstone buildings. So like if you look at the England,
those aren't even that old.
Well, that's yeah. But here's the other thing. There's also lots of Greco-Roman style shit that's all over the world. So they point that out. I find that interesting when you go like, oh, why is it Greco-Roman here? You know, our government buildings are Greco-Roman.
Because the Romans are the shit, bro.
Here's the other thing they get into. Why are all the mental asylums, like why are mental asylums and very big ornate buildings? Nowadays, like, you know, not. But like, if you go back to where they, like, before.
What, the old ones?
Yeah, it's like fucking castles.
Well, that's because they built everything nice back then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just how buildings work.
Yeah. Well,
dude, are people so fucking shallow they don't know how to use Google? Like, did no one pay attention in history class? Did no one understand that there are certain periods of architecture and periods of art and periods of style, periods of thinking? I mean, it all lends from each other. Like, look, dude, if you go back to like 1800s America and you go to like the big buildings built, like they're all fucking ornate. Yeah. I mean, like a church, it's fucking ornate. Unless it was out in the middle of fucking nowhere and it was built using sparing materials, you know, then, that may be like a shack church. But, like, if you go to, you know, like I said, like big ones, you know, or even in Europe, something like obviously you can go to a medieval church and you could tell, oh, man, this was built in the medieval era. Why?
Right,
because
Gothic.
It screams that shit.
Sure.
You know? I mean, it's just periods of fucking architecture.
But people are looking at it and like, there's no way we built it this fast.
How the fuck did they know?
That's a good question.
Dude.
And then they make arguments for economic restraints like the Great Depression.
This will tell you all you need to fucking know, dude, okay? It takes fucking 8 to 16 months for the ATF to approve your fucking suppressor form. And you're going to sit there and tell me, oh, man, we took too long to make this. How do we fucking do? Dude, if it takes 16 months for the ATF to approve a suppressor form, how the fuck are you going to tell me how long it takes to build a castle or to build some type of fucking fort?
Well, they're saying they built it quick as shit. Too quick.
Maybe they fucking did. probably a lot better than we're doing if it takes 16 months to approve a suppressor.
They didn't have any fucking regulation. I mean, this is true, but there's interesting parts about this. Hold on. I'm trying to think of like a super interesting. By the way, fuck Brownstone, fuck Philadelphia, fuck all these places.
Actually, no, I'll tell you
I
exactly
hate
how
all
it
the
got
fucking
built
English
quick.
architecture.
You want to know how it got built quick?
Huh.
Slave. Build this quick or I'm going to fucking murder you and your family. And they're like, oh, hey, cool. I'm going to build this quick or otherwise I'm going to get murdered and so is my family.
Yeah.
And that's just how it was. Things were savage back then. You want something done quick? Get a bunch of slaves.
Get a bunch of
tell
Irish.
Them
Get a bunch of Irish.
I mean, look
and
again. Like I'm not condoning this, you know, because this is terrible. But I'm just saying that's how shit was done back then. Like, I mean, how you think the pyramids were built? How you think castles were built and stuff? Like, I'm pretty sure they didn't pay all the motherfuckers. I mean, like maybe you did some, the ones who did the nice stonework and stuff, but like the majority of that shit, man, like they didn't. I mean, that's just how it was. It was fucking savage. That's just how shit was.
There was one interesting thing, but I can't remember it. Oh well.
It happens.
But when when America falls, who's going to be taking credit for a Statue of Liberty? That's going to be Statue of Liberty is a good example. It's like, oh well, the French made the Statue of Liberty, and then we got it. And then we're like, yeah, well, that's America. So people will eventually just forget the French gave that shit to us. And then when America falls, there's going to be some Walmart employee that's like, yeah.
That was Martha in Frozen Foods. And
yeah.
She was really cold and she lit a torch. And she was like reading, her fucking stocking, menu or whatever, or fucking making inventory.
Yeah.
And so she was lighting up the meat cooler with her flame torch and writing down inventory. And that's Martha's statue. She was really cool back in times when there were food. Now we're all starving.
We're all fucked. We're all fucked. There's no more Martha.
Well,
Martha had
since
the
last. Banks are collapsing and everything. There's going to be nobody anymore.
No Marthas with a flashlight and accounting.
Nah, bro. If you got more than $250,000 in that bank account, fucking strap in, son. Going for a ride, bro. That shit's happening.
Yeah, what fuck, dude? FDIC.
Hey, dude, that's 2 banks in less than 48 hours.
DICK-ing you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, they DIC in that motherfucker. That's for real. And then IRS, they coming in there and they're going to be like, hey, they want their part of that too. So I'm pretty sure if anybody's getting money, it's going to be Uncle Sam, especially since he's cutting that monopoly money check. So he's definitely getting his.
He always getting his.
Well, I mean, hey, at least, Silicon Valley Bank or whatever will be owned by Uncle Sam. Just like GM and, a lot of others.
I'm curious if they just keep the ESG shit. Like, the government bails out the ESG banks and keeps doing shit that don't make sense.
Well, I mean, I guess it just depends, I mean, like, if it pays to go woke, then, like, well, that's not cool. But, I mean, apparently right now it seems like it's go woke, go broke.
Yeah, dude. Fucking subsidized conscience over here. You got a bad idea, we'll throw money at it and keep throwing money at it. We'll throw everybody else's money at it, whether they fucking like it or not.
Most assuredly.
So, we were talking about Egypt, fucking Great Cataclysm. We've already touched on this on like recent podcasts, which got me thinking, hey, I know a movie that has an entire subplot of Great Cataclysm, Egyptology type shit, and a type of movie series that keeps predicting the fucking future. It predicts COVID before COVID happens. This type of shit predicts human trafficking in Hollywood before Epstein and Harvey Weinstein, and they cancel the script so they don't make the movie. That type of shit. So I was like, all right, well, maybe we should revisit that and look at it with this lens where we know, hey, look, this Great Cataclysm shit, like, it's new to us. It's new to the average guy to be talking about this.
Wait, hold on.
Yes.
Before you go any further, because you mentioned Epstein, who certainly didn't hang himself.
Yeah.
You had sent me the other day a podcast with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
And he talked about how he talked to someone who had some slight insider knowledge or whatever of what was going on there.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
apparently there were a lot of people who had access to his prison cell. Like they were in a little block essentially, and like all those doors were unlocked. So it wasn't just whoever could have been his cellmate. It's like, okay, well, there was other people who had access and that camera didn't work, and then there were some people who were transferred immediately after, and it's just like, yo, what the fuck? And of course, obviously, it goes without saying, there were a lot of people who wanted him dead, but
There's people talking to the prisoners like, we'll fucking kill your family if you don't do what gotta be done. And they just open the fucking doors. And then let it go.
My thing is how is it that no one's asking any questions? No one, publicly at least, or
pedophiles
loudly.
are cool now.
Oh, well,
so, I mean, why would you fucking
they're just
kink shame?
Well, yeah, I guess it's just Map Island, so fuck it, whatever. Yeah. Like, that's cool now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to kink shame, those who want to,
To be fair, I'm in the camp that I don't think Epstein's even dead.
He probably isn't. Because that picture they showed us.
Yeah. I mean, we had a better Osama bin Laden photo before that got taken down. That was fake as fuck, but before he got buried at sea.
I'm still waiting for that. It does exist somewhere.
I'm gonna go to, on my next vacation, I'm just gonna fucking.
I almost want to run for Congress just so I can go see that photo. I want to know if it really exists.
Yeah.
Don't they have access to it? Or at least, like, if you're on some type of intelligence committee, I think you just got to have a clearance.
I think you have to be a pedophile and then have, like, collateral information and shit. And I think your kid has to be trans, too.
So you have to have.
You have to date a woman. You have to. Yeah. You have to. Your wife has to actually be a man.
Oh.
Too. Or like look masculine and kind of like ambiguous.
Or I guess, or you have to let her fuck other people and be cool.
Yeah, well, that's the old day. That is the old. That's like 1950s.
Just being.
That's old.
I gotcha.
Yeah, that's classic. That's
now you actually have to be dating
a man.
And
then make your kids that if they are your kids trans. That's like the conspiracy. That's the. You ever seen Chuck Schumer's wife?
No.
Google that real quick on your phone.
Sure. Hold on. Where is that?
Whipping out the Samsung.
Oh shit.
I don't want the FBI to shut us down. I gotta spread the damage across multiple devices. So they can't triangulate on the truth.
Let me see. Hold on. Chuck Schumer.
I'm pretty sure it's Chuck Schumer's wife.
Oh Jesus. Is this well,
now look at Chuck Schumer's wife, like man, like search like Chuck Schumer's wife man or whatever. Like they have a guy that looks just like Chuck Schumer's wife.
I'm going to say, shit, man. And I don't want to be rude. I mean, because, look, I don't want to just make fun of people and stuff. Because there's some just bad pictures. I mean,
just find a good one.
It is a possibility that she just has a very boyish figure, which is,
Which is, if you were a congressman, you would pick.
Maybe. So. I mean, look, man, maybe she's a very nice lady. I don't know.
Senator.
I've never seen seen picture or videos of her speaking or anything like that.
No.
I mean, she's obviously not the most attractive lady, but look at Chuck Schumer. He's kind of a dick. So
yeah,
I mean,
his niece is Amy Schumer.
Yeah, one would only expect so much from a fucking tool such as himself. So I mean. Whatever. I get it.
Yeah,
but,
there is also this. You imagine how fun it would be to be like.
But she could pass for if you told me that was a trans woman, I'd be like,
oh, okay,
word, okay,
Yeah.
like
Sick.
I mean, yeah, or she's just I mean, she's just an old lady. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
I think it'd be hilarious.
I'm not trying to shit on the woman or even be rude like that. But I'm just saying, like
imagine being a senator,
like Chuck Schumer. So
imagine being a senator or a congressman or whatever, some politician, and then you're just like mad at that guy for whatever reason, and then you're just like, fuck that dude's wife. I bet you I could spread a rumor on the internet that she's actually a man. And like you just pay him.
And then now there's rumors on the internet that Chuck Schumer's wife is a man. That's fucked up. But I mean,
pay some people on Fiverr to just go on Reddit and spread this conspiracy with like a compilation of photos.
What's the price you pay for being a dick, dude? I mean, like, have you ever heard that guy talk? Every time I hear, like, he talks like he's reading.
The price isn't high enough, apparently.
I think he talks like someone who's trying to like read a book to a bunch of kids. Mm-hmm. Like he talks in very slow sentences, and then he holds out the last word. And he's just and the Republicans just want to fuck everyone. And he's just like, I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way. Fuck that guy, dude. He sounds like a fucking douche who has no contact with actual reality, with real people. Mm-hmm. Like, he is so sheltered in his life in fucking New York, which is a cesspool in itself. Like, dude, it just
you just described an old Jewish guy with that. That was all I heard when you.
Well, fuck
that was
him,
a great. That was a great fucking impression.
I wasn't trying to do that, but I'm just saying.
And he's besmirched. You know what? He's anti-Semitic for being such a shitty Jew.
He sounds condescending as fuck when he starts talking, and I cannot stand that shit, dude. Condescending people are just the most. They just fuck them, dude.
Do you ever think we'll become so woke that if you're a bad black person or a bad Jew or like a bad white guy, that they'll just be like, okay, if I was a black guy and I got robbed a store with a gun, they'd be like, that was racist because now you made black people look bad. Like, do we think we could ever go full circle? Like,
maybe if
Chuck Schumer, stop being anti-Semitic. You fucking suck. Like, you suck so bad.
You're just advancing the narrative. You know, you're just making your own people look bad. Stop. You're being racist.
You suck so bad. You're actually advancing racism and anti-Semitism right now. You're actually making global warming like a fucking throttle right now. Because we know climate change is the most pressing issue against racism. Damn. So it's like, dude, if you're a shitty person, the world literally hinges on you not being a shitty person. Starting with your race, of course.
Wow. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that working out pretty badly. Right. But okay, so movie.
Yeah, all right. So
I'm sorry. I totally I got sidetracked by fucking Jeffrey Epstein and shit and whatnot.
No, I get it. So there's a movie called James Bond Spectre. Now, there's some fucking interesting shit about this that, like, I just watched the movie and I have a good eye. I'll see something, I catch a detail, and I go, hey, that's weird. That seems oddly intentional. Someone thought about something. This is not... Okay, this is how you watch a movie. I'm going to give a tip to everybody. This is how you should watch a movie. Have you ever lucid dreamed before?
Like, controlled my own dream?
Yeah, like you started going, hey, this is a fucking dream. And then and you start like, I'm going to make this bitch a little bit hotter.
That's really hard to do.
It is hard to do. I got pretty good at it.
When you were younger, I find.
I agree. So I have a problem with dreams. I'll go to sleep. I'm talking to somebody in my dream. I turn my head. I'm talking to somebody else. I turn my head back, and that person I was talking to the first time is somebody else. I go, hey, what the fuck? And then I'll wake up. I fucking always break I can't even suspend disbelief from my dreams. So when I watch a movie, I'm the same way. If you look for details that don't make sense from a competent director or competent team, that is a fucking like prerequisite here, then you'll start realizing what they really want to tell you, because it's the inconsistencies that are more important, but they're also the subtleties, so they're not in your face. And just like lucid dreaming, you go, why am I seeing this? Does this make sense? Always ask yourself, why are they showing me this? Every fucking shot change. Why are you showing me this? Why are you showing me this? Because there's a reason for everything. I mean, there's so many people work together to make a movie. Right. Why is there leaving a detail in that's just superfluous? Like, it makes no sense. So we talked about great cataclysms on one of the podcasts, and we kind of touched on Egyptology. Not really. It's just that, like, Egypt is obviously something that's ancient and possibly
older than, yeah,
older. There's a lot of knowledge from Egypt that could have, like, been taken and held, like the Library of Alexandria supposedly getting burned down and nobody having any of that shit. You know, Rome never the Vatican never has that, you know, like shit like that. So anyway, here's my notes. So there's this guy, Richard Grant Halliburton. And this dude was basically traveling the world, writing about different shit, old school explorer. And he had a name. People knew of him. I mean, I wasn't alive then. Couldn't tell you how big he was. If I was alive then, I wouldn't be able to fucking tell you shit about him because I didn't have the internet. But dude went around the world, talked about a bunch of different shit. And in 1868, he wrote a paper about this festival. Something clicked to him when he went to Mexico. He went to Mexico, and there was this festival called Dia de Muertos. Dia de Muertos, Day of the Dead. I started realizing, like, oh, this is weird. Like, this happens by Halloween. Like, why is Dia de Muertos by Halloween? Because the Catholics have a thing, and they have Halloween, and then they have All Souls Day, and they have All Saints Day. Like, this is strange. So on All Souls Day, on November 2nd, that's when Dia de Muertos happens. Oh, what do these people do? They worship the god of death, or like there's a god of death, and it's not that they're worshiping or whatever, but the theme is there's a god of death, and there's a story about how like the god of death had his hair fall to earth and all this shit. And, wow, that's weird. Okay, well, let's talk about the Celtics. Let's talk about the Greeks. And he goes through all these stories and go, hey, dude, why in all different hemispheres of the earth, why in all of these different places, all these different cultures, all of these different things, they have this cataclysm story where they all happen on the same days of the year.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, well, if I trace it back, it even goes back to the same year. Like, something happened where all these people who couldn't talk to each other, supposedly, and they all have this story. So what's going on? And he was able to trace it back to Taurus, and they had some etymology there. Or future researchers were able to look back and go, hey, look, there's this thing with Taurus. Egyptians talk about it. And there's, like, you time it out, and there's this thing called the Taurids, which is like the meteorites from Taurus. And it seems like some really bad shit happened. And just to show you a photo, this is actually the Leonis meteors, but it's just like the Taurids where it has a radial fall. Very interesting that it looks like it all comes from one source in the sky and then emits outward, like, you know, radially. So sort of made me think, just a side note, hey, I wonder if sometimes when we see in ancient art, we see like sun rays. It's not fucking sun rays. Because this looks more like what this being drawn than sun rays. But, so, whatever. So then the next thing.
I think there's also, too, just to add a side note to that there's like a lot of shared things in cultures that, you know, maybe from an outside perspective, like just looking in, you know, you might would think it's different, but it's actually really similar. You know, and even in things like architecture and whatnot, you know, like the pyramid architecture is it was in Egypt, it's in South America.
Right.
I mean, like a lot of these things are really similar to each other, and yet for cultures that are literally thousands of miles away from each other, they do have a lot of similarities, which
Yes.
are kind of hard to explain looking at it through a modern lens. But
Yeah.
again, how old are these things, and how many times has civilization been created and destroyed and restarted and went through periods and times in which some things survived, maybe construction methods or even just styles of architecture or whatnot, or just pieces that they held on to and were able to recreate via maybe even other methods. But how much of this shit is shared,
Right.
and how, it's just kind of hard to understand it, like I said, looking at it through a modern lens, because we don't know what the landscape was like or what the technology was like. And being modern as we are, we like to think, oh man, we're the smartest that humanity's
ever
been. But how the fuck do we know?
Right. We don't know. And that is the other thing too, is like, pyramids everywhere sharing the same story. But the Greeks had the same story, obviously followed after Egypt and everything. So there's this thing. I was like, well, if Egypt had the story, and then they might have witnessed something before even they went down. It becomes like, when did this thing happen? But anyway, I get a little bit into Egypt, kind of give you a broad overview of the shit. So the story of Egypt, a big one, is a story of Set and Horus. Now, there was this dude Osiris. I'm not going to get into him, but he was like the head dude, all right? And Osiris was chilling, and he just gets fucking whacked by Set. Set is his brother. Osiris' son is Horus. Horus is next in line for the throne, but he's young, and there's like 9 other gods. Okay. 9 other gods go, I don't know who should have the throne. Like, Horus is a little young, and Set's like, bruh, motherfucker, I should be that dude. And they're like, well, you kind of like just fucking killed your own brother, so I don't know if like you should be next in throne. And
kind of suspect.
Yeah, like I don't think I could. Man, I don't think I could really trust you with the throne. And before I get into the movie that this is preluding to, it's pretty similar to like Lion King, like this theme.
Yeah, right.
This theme. So Ra is a part of this. Ra is usually seen as the all-seeing eye, or this eye of providence that could see everything. And he was kind of like, I don't think it should be Horus. Like, he was like the holdout. Like, everybody was like, oh, we should go with Set. And he was like, or we should go with Horus. And Ra was like, I don't know about that. Maybe Set should be whatever. So that's that. And then they had, let's see what's this next image. Oh, yeah, so that's an all-seeing eye. Notice it's the right eye. So the right eye is the eye of Ra. The left eye is the eye of Horus. So...
Oh, they're different?
Yeah, they are different.
Oh, no shit.
So
I never fucking noticed
so
that.
if you ever see... That's like where it goes into conspiracy. Like, if you ever see, like, all the musicians and Hollywood people, and they do the eye shit, it's always the right eye. It's never the left one. It's always the right eye. So, anyway... It's just something to notice.
Hey, how do you notice which one's which? Is the...
It's literally mirror image.
Okay,
like,
but which one is that supposed to be?
This is Ra. This is the right eye.
Like your right, or looking at it to the right?
It would be its right eye.
Okay.
It's to our left.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the eye of Ra. And obviously the eye of Ra is like the all-seeing eye. Right? Okay. So like, we keep seeing this shit over and over. It's all-seeing eye. And then just something to touch on. It's like not huge. This is the cosmic egg. It shows up in a bunch of different cultures. It's like the egg from which civilization is born, a new era is born, a new ethos, a god is born. We're going to touch on that. All right. So then, here comes the theme. So the movie we're covering is James Bond Spectre. And before the movie even fucking starts, the Lionsgate film opens up in a way that it never opens up in any other way. It starts from the lion's eye.
No shit.
It never,
Oh.
no other movie, I looked, no other movie opens from the lion gate's eye. So it starts in his pupil and it zooms out and then you see it's his eye, then it's a fucking lion. So before the movie even starts, we're already on this theme of the all-seeing eye. I didn't even get to the fucking opening scene yet. All right.
Oh shit.
So something to notice about the opening scenes of Bond. I haven't noticed in Casino Royale, but we could talk about like the last three, Spectre, for sure, and No Time to Die. Bro, watch the fucking intro credits. You're gonna know everything you need to know. You're gonna know what's gonna happen in the movie just from the intro. And I just stopped right here because it's the most important part of what they're showing you is James Bond is fighting this group called Spectre. Spectre is symbolized as an octopus, okay? So in this opening scene, there's all this octopus and shit. But at the end, he's got a gun, he's pointing the gun, or there's a gun he's pointing, and then the octopus is just wrapping its tentacles around the gun. There's an interesting thing that happens in this movie where Bond starts realizing, hey, things aren't as it seems. Me as an MI6 agent, there seems to be more at play. I'm not just the good guy.
He's a chess piece at this point.
Right. Something's happening. Who's controlling my directive? I don't feel there's something amiss. And this narrative goes even deeper and more profound in the next movie, but we're not talking about the next movie. We're just talking about Spectre. So then, movie opens. Dia de Muertos, Mexico City.
Right.
Dia de Muertos was actually not even celebrated really big in Mexico City. Like, it wasn't a parade and shit. Now it is. You go there because of Bond that they have this parade.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's going and he's walking amongst everybody. He's got this mask on. And what he's doing is he's following a dude on some covert assignment. Like, he's just doing this on his own. Fuck MI6. I'm on my own. And he's following this guy who's no good. And the symbolism here is much like the symbolism of a zombie movie where you got a bunch of deadheads, you got a bunch of brain dead people, and these are all souls in a parade. And they're fighting over the fate of souls. That's what it's symbolizing here. It's good and evil fighting over the reaping of souls. This is the tradition, by the way, where the souls are reaped on Halloween. Or, you know, All Souls Day that lines up with Dia de Muertos, whatever. But you actually see in the shot the bad guy he's looking for. So then he comes out of his hotel room. He walks on top of this roof, and then he looks into this room, and there's a meeting happening. Everybody's going, cheers to the dead, or cheers to death. That's what they're saying. And what's happening is they're actually about to do a terror plot where he blows up a stadium. He's going to go blow up a stadium full of people. Yes, this is before the, what was that? The Manchester bombing. I think a couple years before. And Bond comes in and shoots some people and fucking explodes the shit, and the whole hotel falls apart, and that guy starts getting away. The main guy that supposedly was going to go bomb, he shoots a suitcase, and they get in a big fight, and they're in a helicopter, and he ends up overtaking the helicopter, and he flies away. He's all happy. He's flying away. The other thing about this is it happens during the day, and this is going to sound like a stretch now. I'll bring it full circle later. But just remember that Horus is remembered as the god of the sun. He's often referred to by Greeks as Apollo. They just conflate the two. So he just flies away into the sun. All happy, hunky-dory. Also, men live like this and they're completely happy. Even James Bond, no furniture, TV on the floor, doesn't give a fuck.
Minimal lifestyle.
Just chilling.
Bro, as long as you got the gat and bitches, man, it's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have a mean to protect and a means to pleasure. And he's got a license to kill, so fuck it.
Fucking, he got fine ass money penny over.
Fuck yeah.
He just got like a fine art piece on the ground. He's like looking out the window, ruminating about life.
He's fucking James Bond. He's the Mac shit.
So he just got a video that like was M, who's dead now, and M is like his superior when she was a woman, and she was like, "Hey, like, something's fucking wrong."
Was this the last film that M?
Yeah, it was the last one. She was dead in this one, but she left a video for him. I think she died in Solace or Skyfall. She dies in Skyfall.
Okay, gotcha. I knew it was one of these. Okay.
Right. So she dies in Skyfall, but she leaves this message like, "Hey, something's wrong with the fucking agency. Like, there's something else going on. I want you to look for it. Don't tell anybody else." So that's what he did. He went to go kill the people in Mexico City. Obviously, he killed these people and blew up some shit, and everybody's mad at him.
Right.
Old rogue 007 can't stop him. And then, after everybody's all mad at him, this dude comes up. I think his name's like Max Denberg or some shit. And he's like this new dude who's trying to bring this privatized industry and take over the 007 program and centralize the surveillance of the entire world. Just kind of weird. You just, whatever, fuck 007 program, fuck Britain and MI6 trying to do their shit. Like, we're going to come in and do whatever we got to do. And something fun about his building that his new headquarters is in, completely fictional, but it's right across the street from MI6. And if you look at the top of this building, imagine you were looking at this building sky down. It's like, it's kind of hard to see, but that looks like an eye to me. Maybe I'm stretching. So then I looked at like some of the conceptual drawings. There is a better conceptual drawing that I couldn't find. I found it. I lost it. But here's one of the inside floor plan.
Interesting.
It's just, yeah. I don't know what that looks like. So then they all meet after this shit. All these countries meet together to talk about, hey, should we become a part of this new centralized, privatized, like surveillance state? And the meet in this group is called Nine Eyes. So much like Five Eyes in the real world, which is like Australia, New Zealand, America, Britain, somebody else I don't give a fuck about. But yeah, that they're all together. So, but in the movie, it's called Nine Eyes. And it's 9 intelligence agencies all meet in Tokyo. Fun fact, the next movie, Tokyo has a lethal disease that they were making gain-of-function research because MI6 was doing some subtle shit and using Tokyo as a base to, a place in Asia to make a gain-of-function.
Turns out it was just, the people that, the Japanese dislike a lot historically, but whatever. Yeah.
It was just bat soup or something like that.
Yeah.
So
some other Asian culture will,
we won't mention.
Yeah,
That's
totally. That's hate speech.
That would be hate speech if we were allowed to say it without Mossad or somebody shutting us down again. So then they all meet and they're like, they go to vote again. 9 intelligence agencies. They all go like, hey, who gets to run the world? Like, is it going to be these Bond type shits, or is it going to be the centralized, all-seeing eye? And they go, oh well, they vote, and if they miss it by a vote, South Africa's like, dog, we're good. We don't need. I like that it was South Africa. South Africa decides like, no, like why South Africa goes rogue, but so they voted like, no, we don't need a centralized thing. Everybody else voted for it. South Africa's a holdout, but it needed to be unanimous. So Nine Eyes doesn't go through. They don't end up privatizing the entire fucking world. And then the next scene, there's a meeting in Rome happening almost parallel to the meeting in Tokyo. And it's this shadowy organization, and they're talking about all kind of crazy shit. They're talking about, hey, we're doing great in human trafficking and leisure, which is prostitutes. We're moving these people all around the world. We're fucking up countries. Oh, our pharmaceuticals are doing great, by the way. Our counterfeit pharmaceuticals are doing great. And you know what? We just got the WHO on. We're going to get the WHO on board. We're going to corrupt the people and blackmail the people in the World Health Organization. And we're going to get them on board to use our counterfeit shit. And then everybody's like, yes, good. Yes, just like we did against the Bureau of Human Trafficking. We'll just corrupt them and make them do what they say they're defending against. And they're like, yeah, exactly. Again, before COVID. Before the next movie that predicted COVID. And they sit down, and Bond is able to get into this meeting because he secured like a secret ring. And he walks in, they see the ring, and he walks in. So the ring's kind of important. It'll come up later. But he walks in, he ends up seeing this meeting, and then they become aware that he was in the meeting, and there's a fight sequence. I mean, it's fucking Bond, of course. And later on in the movie, there's another fight sequence, and during the fight sequence, you'd miss it if you weren't retarded and I think a autistic person would remember the word autistic. But if you were autistic, you would pick this up. So you got Q, and he pulls up this ring, and he's doing like a data analysis on the ring, and it's pulling up the autopsies of all these people that they killed in previous movies that were also a part of this group, Spectre. But the ring, if you were to pause it, it says ZR. See where it says ZR right there? ZR is a special type of compound. It's zirconium sodium oxycarbate or some shit.
Let me Google this.
No, you're good.
Right.
So I got it right here. It's called, let's put my readers on. It's called zirconium orthosilicate. And the funny thing about zirconium orthosilicate is by Wikipedia, it can only be created when zircon experiences high pressure and temperature. Redidite is denser than zircon and has the same crystal structure and scheelite. All natural occurrences of redidite, which this is, it even mentions redidite in there, are associated with meteor impact events. On Earth, redidite has been reported from the impact structures of Chesapeake Bay, from in Virginia, Race Crater in Germany, Xi'an Crater in China. Like, it just goes on. West Australia. Anyway, fucking cool. That's what happens.
And the ZR is on the.
Yeah. Look, if you can see right here, the ZR is right there, and it also says redidite right there. Yeah. So the ring is made up of this meteorite. That's what the ring is made up of. This very rare shit is made up of meteorite. So then, tons of other shit happens, other fighting scenes, whatever. But Bond ends up surrendering himself and then going to the main dude's base. I'm leaving one big thing out here. I should clarify. Bond, the bad guy in this movie, is his brother. His brother, he was adopted, and he and his adopted brother had a father, right? His adopted brother killed his own father, and then, well, they supposedly died in an avalanche, but what he really did was kill his own father, fake his own death. And throughout this whole time, you're finding out that him and his brother have been warring each other, but he didn't necessarily know his brother existed. Mm. So, he's been this shadowy force of corruption, basically fucking using mass immigration, terrorist attacks, and all this shit all over the world. And he's basically been chasing his brother's chaos, and his brother is using chaos to make a new order, a new world order. And it's even mentioned when that dude walks in, the privatized guy that walked in, Max Sternberg, he even goes, "I'm bringing the MI6 out of the dark ages into the light." So there's like this tons of esoteric type saying. So anyway, towards the end of the movie, he surrenders himself. He's like, "I'm going to go to the dude's base." He goes there, and of course, the base is located at the center of a crater.
Of course.
Bond fights and escapes, and he fucking, they're like drilling his brain and shit. He throws a watch, and the watch explodes, and then it looks like your boy, the bad guy, gets blown up. He runs out, he explodes the fucking base, and fucking James Bond shit, just escapes with the woman. The woman goes, "I don't want to be with you." She leaves. She gets kidnapped. Whatever. I'm not there yet. But let's zoom in on what the fucking crater does. So they go into the crater, and there's a fucking meteorite in the centerpiece of this room, and there's circle steps around the meteorite, like it's the epicenter. It's very cool.
A crater.
Yeah, and what do you see that's shaped like?
It's an egg.
It's a fucking egg. It births something. Did it burn? Was the movie? It goes, well, this is the oldest one in existence that man has. Okay, did the meteorite seed the world with human life? Did the meteorite destroy an ancient empire to which this esoteric fucking group in Rome gets all their knowledge from? You know, like this ancient history shit. Again, you have to realize what's happening. There's an esoteric group that's creating terror to then use a privatized security system or company to monitor the whole world that will then get paid. And then it's all like just one giant organized, privatized government type thing. It's fucking crazy. So, yeah, there's a weird fucking egg-shaped meteorite. And Bond's like, I think we should be impressed. Like, he wants us to be impressed. And your boy goes on a whole spiel. He's like, it was moving silently through space, just building momentum, an unstoppable force. And then Bond's like, but it did stop, didn't it? It stopped right here. And so it's funny is like there's like an acknowledgement of each other where Blofield's like, what I'm doing is just like this meteorite. I'm unstoppable. The birth of the new world that I'm building, this new world order, is unstoppable. And Bond's like, everything's stoppable. Like, just like this meteorite. Fucking stop, bro. So there's these two sides. What I'm trying to explain here, and it'll become more clear, is that Bond is more like Horus, and your boy is like Set. One's the god of chaos that uses chaos to sow his order, and one is order that's always trying to stop the chaos.
Right.
And there's another thing about Set was like, his boy's Ra. His boy's Ra, the all-seeing eye. And what is he building? Well, he's building the all-seeing eye. This theme keeps coming up. So he walks into this room with Bond after, and he just sees all the terrorist attacks on all these screens, all these computer screens showing up. And once he gets there, it's like you're seeing all these fiery fucking protests and riots, and obviously he has a implicated hand in, and they're all over the world. They can see everything. And Blofield's just fucking stroking his dick. He's just like, oh, dude, I'm the best. Then there's an interesting thing that happens where he can actually see into the MI6 headquarters. And the new M, the guy, is basically like, Bond just disappeared. Like the French say it's the fate of glass to break. Maybe it's like a spy's fate to fucking disappear and shit. And he just lets Bond go rogue. What we're watching is the trial. All these 9 eyes, just like the 9 gods they met, they voted. And they're like, we don't know who's going to be. And then they end up voting entirely for the New World Order because they just keep doing terrorist attacks. So they give up. But it's how things are handled. So your boy at MI6 just goes, I don't know, maybe Bond disappears. Let things, whatever. So he's watching his own dude sell him out as he's in the fucking thing. All right. So from here, that's when he goes to drill his fucking brain. He fucking takes a fucking thing, his watch off. He throws the fucking watch. It blows up. And then he blows up the base. He's a fucking badass. And he runs away. The woman's like, I don't want to live with you. Whatever. And then Bond gets kidnapped. Somehow he gets fucking kidnapped. Again, you could just kill Bond here. But he doesn't. They're like, we're bringing you to the old MI6 building, which is about to be demolished. He goes in the MI6 building. And then he breaks out, and then he runs into the MI6 building, and it's like a big riddle. He runs through, and they're like, he gets up to this top floor, and he sees Blofeld, and Blofeld's looking at him, and he just shoots the gun. When he shoots the gun, it's like fucking crazy. It's a very fast thing, but you see on the glass, it's shaped like an octopus. Just like Spectre, So it was just interesting. So what you end up seeing here from like a director's perspective is this play on reflection.
Huh.
So yeah. So he fucking shoots, and he got the fucking octopus bullshit, and he runs up through the glass. They end up talking to each other as they always do, and Blofield's missing a fucking eye. He lost his eye in the explosion. He's missing his right eye in the explosion.
Interesting.
Okay. And they start talking to each other, and he's like, I've been the author of all your pain, or whatever. And then Bond's like, do you miss me? He's like, no, I don't miss you, and this and this. But again, Bond's now in this test. And another amazing shot is this reflection that, like, Blofeld's reflection is on Bond. And then just like when Bond shot and left the Spectre octopus, Blofeld blows onto the glass and makes like a little heart. He's like, I have the thing you love. So it's this interesting play where they are each other, like they're one and the same in this process. It's
just two different
sides of the coin. You see what they're brothers. It gets weird, right? Just like Order and Chaos. So then he ends up fucking saving the girl, hopping in a fucking boat, zooming out of the fucking MI6 building as it gets demolished, and then there's a helicopter coming over. And that's Blofeld's helicopter. And he's just fucking shooting at it, and eventually with a fucking pistol, somehow he shoots down the fucking helicopter, and the helicopter crashes. And it's like, okay, how did the movie start? Oh, Dia de Muertos? Oh, and he flies away in a fucking helicopter into the sun? Oh, okay, cool. And then how's the movie end? Oh, he shoots down the bad guy at night, and the helicopter crashes?
No.
Like the cyclical nature of this movie. And then he walks up to the helicopter, and he's got his gun out, and Blofeld's on the ground with his fucked up eye, and he looks up and he goes, finish it. He doesn't say kill me. He says finish it. And Bond fucking drops his mag and was like, nah, dude, I'm all out of bullets. And doesn't kill him. What did Horace do in the trial of Set? Well, what Horace did in the trial of Set was he conquered Set, and he had him bound. And then he goes, I let him go. And they go, we got to make Horus king. He goes, yes, Set, the god Set, chaos is necessary for my order. Order and chaos, he defines me. I define him. I let him go. And, you probably wouldn't have Bond just fucking blow this dude's brain out on a fucking bridge, but it just keeps following the archetype. It's just like every way this could follow the archetype, it keeps following it. So then, you just start wondering, like, all right, well, whoever made this movie has the esoteric knowledge.
They're on to something.
Yeah, they're on to something. Is this indicative of, like, do the people that they're portraying in the movie, like these intelligence agencies, are they also hip to the bullshit, or is this just a movie universe? So I thought, all right, that'd be cool. Let's go back and just talk about some of the things that these bad people did in the movie. Let's forget that they predicted coronavirus. Let's forget that they predicted fucking Hollywood human trafficking and shit years before. And I'll just say what some of the crimes of the bad guys did was. Le Chiffre was a bad dude. It says when they analyzed the stock market in 9/11, the CIA noticed When they analyzed the stock market in 9/11, the CIA noticed a massive shorting in airline stocks. When stocks hit rock bottom on November 12th, somebody made a fortune. The same thing happened the morning a Skyfleet stock was supposed to, whatever. This dude was shorting shit before 9/11.
Are these real people?
No. These are people from the movie.
I got you.
And then what they're saying. Okay, so you start going like, okay, where does reality begin?
Right.
And where does the movie begin? And how much do these things portrayed in the movie are real?
Right.
And then it's like, okay, Dominic Green, he was a fictional billionaire leading an environmentalist enterprise, Green Planet, to establish a political and financial dominance over Bolivia by illicitly buying up the rights to their limited water supply, growing a monopoly, and installing an immutable puppet dictator. Oh, so like using like green energy and shit as a way to like secure natural resources and keep competitors out and install a dictator that will let you fuck. Again, like I get it's a movie, but and then
it bears some real life resemblance.
But then it's how real. And at the last point is, look, I just keep so the things I pointed out, was it a coincidence? Was the asteroid and the rings a coincidence? Was the Great Cataclysm a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that these guys follow the same archetype or an allegory as Horus and Set? I mean, it is somewhat loose, And then is it a coincidence that like this thing where the eye is always a fucking eye, and the Lionsgate lion and the fucking character and the building of the CNS that's going to house a new fucking central. Is it a coincidence? Well, I mean, I don't know. Is it a fucking coincidence that the MI6 building looks like that? Hey, MI6 building look kind of weird. That's a real life MI6 building.
What you mean?
I don't know. It could be just me. But the shit doesn't look like a British building.
No, that's for sure. It's definitely a little different.
And only when I watch this movie...
It looks almost looks like a Mayan pyramid.
It kind of looks like a pyramid. But that's a real life one. That's not in the movie. That's not just in the movie. It doesn't just end in the movie. And I had that thought that it looked like a pyramid when I was watching the movie because all the fucking themes here. And then when they blow it up, it looks even like more like it because it's all dilapidated and brown before they blow it up. I don't know. Maybe it's all coincidence, but I thought, that was interesting.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. So that's my Spurg. That's my Spurg moment. That's what I was formulating.
I wonder where else this shit is hidden. And in how many movies, and in how many people, and how many directors, and... Because I don't think that's just coincidence, I mean...
Yeah, I just think it's like, bro, you start in Dia de Muertos. Then you go into this thing about an ancient asteroid and the rings of the secret society, who obviously know this secret asteroid, fucking have rings from the asteroid, and they all meet in Rome and talk about how running the fucking world and shit.
Well, my thing is okay. So if we're gonna admit that like secret societies exist and things like this, so what the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? So all right. If that's a protected piece of knowledge, all right, that like, civilization's been restarted however many fucking times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what?
Right.
What else?
It's what I think what it is what they know from the previous iterations of society.
Where is that at?
Well, some people think...
Is that the breakaway society? Or?
Some people think that the Library of Alexandria, all the shit that was in there, and a lot of shit from Egypt since Vatican City.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people think that.
Well...
A lot of people think that the Templars knew about that shit and ran off with it, and that's where the Masons come from. All that ancient knowledge from Egypt. That's why the Masons have all this fucking ancient Egypt fucking ties and ritualistic shit. All these hermetic type ties to the...
Well, I think like your base level Masons don't know shit, but maybe someone in the upper echelons probably does.
Yeah, like literally like... I think if you talk to like a 32nd degree, 31st to 33rd degree, I mean, you're not going to find a 33rd, probably. But if you talk to them, they know enough. They know enough to like, yeah, shit, spooky. Like, they're like, they know who the author, they understand that there's authors of history that rewrite history, that keep some shit behind. And they know a little bit about the shit that's been kept behind. But it's also about like, these are people in an organization. They don't necessarily want to live their whole life just living for the organization. There's some people who delve into it and they never leave. Randall Carlson's a Mason.
That wouldn't surprise me.
That's why he knows a lot of what he knows. So, he has all these fucking information sources and networks that nobody else has.
The idea that there are secret societies that may know things that people doesn't. I mean, like I said, it's not surprising, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, so what do they do with this knowledge? And what do they know? I mean,
I think if you look at the characters in the movie and then you look at the things that seem like they're related to the most in real life, I think what they understand is what the movie's trying to tell you, is that good and evil are one and the same. Like, good and evil are brothers. And there's this eternal fight between the two. And through this fight, they make better worlds. So, in Bond and Blofeld fighting each other, they're actually making a better world. But over and over again. Like, they're sharpening their steel against each other. And they keep making a better world. That's like the good makes the bad stronger, the bad makes the good stronger, and it just keeps forging the providential thread of God in a better world. Like, that is part of Enlightenment thinking. So it's like, but it seems like Egypt, the way they kind of tell their story is like they seemed aware of that. So I think they know that. I think they understand, obviously, the people in control of the real world, the people in control in the movie understand, like, through chaos we can sow order. We just need to start chaos first. And they see it, but they see themselves as the good and the bad. They're like, yeah, we get to fucking sow the path.
Right, I guess if you understand it, you do, and if you don't, well, I mean, that's kind of on you, but...
Look at fucking Soros, where he's like, well, nobody else was going to fuck up the British pound. Like, if it wasn't me, somebody else would have did it, so I had to do it first. And it's like, yeah, I guess if nobody else turned my fellow Jews to the Nazis...
Who else would?
Yeah, and I had to, actually, because eventually somebody else would, and I'm just doing what I got to do to survive.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Damn, though. That's wild, bro.
I've been waiting for somebody to put that online. For years. Saw this for years. I'd be like, go read this article. And I'm just like, nah, this dude, how did they not see it? So I'm just waiting for somebody to fucking put it out. So, that's why we got podcasts and that type of shit.
Yeah, well, this is very true. I just have to, like, keep looking for this kind of stuff.
The all-seeing eye shit you'll see everywhere.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, yeah.
Early 2000s especially, like, they just fucking got a hard-on for that. I was sitting there watching Ugly Betty with my girlfriend, and it had this... They would make one character, tied to the all-seeing eye, like, every episode. Very often. And, like, there was this one time where the gay guy lied. Like, there's, like, this gay assistant, and he lies to the woman. I don't fucking know her name. Alamisha or fucking whatever her name is. And she goes to hit him. Like, she gets mad. And when she gets mad, he just told a lie, right? When she gets mad, she's like, and he thinks he's going to get hit. And he covers his face like this. Mm-hmm. Like, where he's, like, making a diamond with his two hands to block his face. And he looks away. And then she goes, that makes complete sense or something. So, like, he feels safe enough. But rather than moving his hands, he keeps his hands the same place. And he goes... it was so fast. I was like, pause it. And then Jaleesa's like, what? I was like, go back, pause it. She goes, I was like, there. She was like, what the fuck? How did you see that? I'm like, I see everything. I'm too quick.
I mean, dude, that's just crazy how many people put that shit in there, and like I said, it's just, if you notice it, you do, and if you don't, you don't,
It is before the gay stuff. So, like, well, I mean, obviously the gay stuff was there, but it's like, now it's like, how many gay things can we sneak in? You know what I mean? How many pedo things can we sneak in? How many trans things? So it's like, I think over the course of, like, society, what is once a secret, it's a secret because they would get, like, fucked over if people knew what they believed,
right?
Because they'd be ostracized. They already they willingly ostracize themselves just so they don't get fucked with, and they keep symbols and secrets to themselves for the idea. And nowadays it's like, oh, there's a new flag. What's that flag mean? Oh, what's this mean? Why are there spirals in a children's book? All these spirals in a so it's like, that's a level of it, right? But I do think there is, like, real ancient orders that still exist to some degree, the knowledge and the practices, and they never want to be a part of society, but they can't help but put it in the movies because they're like, that's our shit, we made this. Just like pedos, when they make child's books, they're not going to put a triangle spiral in it.
Well, are they the society, or is it just people knowing and acknowledging that there is a society and then trying to put that out there to people who maybe can catch it and realize that, like, hey, we're on to you.
So I would say two things.
Or maybe a little bit of both.
Two things about that. I would say that, what's that guy's name? Fucking Stanley Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick was a guy who seemed like he knew, and he kept trying to show how much he knew to then be accepted into the fold. Like, you have to audition. You have to use your craft to show people that you're capable, to then be accepted into it, the higher echelons of society, of these secret societies. And the other thing is, this diabolical test, just like the one Blofeld puts Bond through, it's a test. They put the shit there because it's pre-programming. You can see what you allow yourself to see. You can go watch Bond and have a great action movie. You can go watch Bond and just go, hey, that's kind of weird. This is happening in the real world. You could go watch Bond and go, hey, there's a secret society that's controlling the private intelligence agencies that's controlling this in the movie. I wonder if that's happening in the real world. So they don't lie because they can't create.
Right.
They just, there's always, it's like if you watch a gay guy stand-up set, it's going to be a lot different than a straight guy stand-up set. Straight guy's not going to do the gay guy stand-up set because they are who they are. They are what they create.
Right.
You're not going to create something that's not of them. So I do think, like, there's a level of people that are auditioning. Like, they're trying to brag about how much they know, but there's a reason why it's always a subtext of the plot.
Right.
And I do think there's a level of, it is auditioning. Some of the people probably made it. And then there's a level of, like, also they couldn't not make it because that's who they are. It's part of their worldview.
It's like a mystery upon itself, It is kind of, I guess if you shroud it with enough mystery, then like you just, it's almost so blatantly obvious that it wouldn't, if you make it seem like it's the plot of a fucking fiction film, obviously, then you're just like, oh yeah, this is whatever, it's just a movie. But like, if you put it in the context of, oh, is this a real life thing? And you'd be like, nah, man, that's just way too fucking elaborate to actually happen. But there's just like, no, actually, it really isn't. But it to the regular person, you would just think that is so fucking far-fetched that it would never happen. But because it's so far-fetched, it is possible. And
because they have people who are part of this agenda that control what is made and what not made, they're able to frame these things as fiction, so you never think that the real world is that way.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and
perception.
And the other thing is comedy. So you have to think about how this movie works. This movie makes you think it's cool. This shit's cool. Like, even Bond is the good guy. MI6 is the good guy. It's already starting off from a fucked up proposition.
Right.
Like, and then the other thing is like, but they have to tell you the truth. They have to go, actually, the good guys and the bad guys are one and the same. But that's a subtext. We leave that in for us because that's the truth. But you keep rooting for Bond, dog, and not realizing they're one and the same. You keep doing that. And then they'll do comedy where it's like, oh, like, isn't this absurd? Like, you can see that with activists, like the gay men's choir in San Francisco, when they're like, we're coming after your kids. And somebody like, ooh, we're going to make your kids gay. Yeah, we're really coming after your kids. And then somebody pulled up all the abuse records of those people. And it's like, yeah, that wasn't it's a joke, but it's not a joke.
Damn.
Like, you see what I'm saying? It's like, if you could do something that is so funny or so fantastical, and then you're allowed to frame it, then you're allowed to frame how anyone's allowed to think about that issue. And it's, oh, that's such a joke. Oh, that's funny. That doesn't really happen.
No shit.
Yeah. I do have one movie I'd like to touch on, and that's but that's going to be another autistic one. It's going to be Boss Baby 2. Boss Baby 2 is the most maniacal fucking.
I've seen Boss Baby 1.
We should sit down and watch 2 together one day.
What the fuck? What is this premise?
The premise is these two kids. It's too much. It's too much for this podcast.
Okay.
We'll get into it in another one. It's just too fucking much. They literally rewrite the whole premise of the entire series.
Do I need to watch Boss Baby 1?
No. Skip Boss Baby 1.
Just go straight to 2?
Just know that the baby comes from an organization, like a marketing organization to make people want to have more babies. And then they grow up, and 2 is with them in the future, all grown up with their own families. And then they get turned into kids again. That's it. So it basically restarts. Like, it's just fucking stupid, but
Interesting.
it's fucking spooky. It's fucking spooky, dude.
Do I need to watch this movie through some type of lens?
New World Order lens, totally. Okay. Totally. Woke culture and New World Order lens and the destruction of the family unit to create a New World Order. Through technology, too.
Word.
Separate children from their parents using technology and create a New World Order of a globalist world where all the kids run the world, but they're broken up from their families, and everyone's distracted by technology in their own world.
I also have another movie, which
Ooh.
I'm going to discuss with you maybe after this.
Okay.
Because I think it may have some relevance, but you're probably going to either have to pay to see it or pirate it first.
Pirate it.
Maybe so. But, yeah, I think it actually, if you watch it, you'll be like, oh, shit. Because I watched it and I was like, oh shit.
What's the name of it? Just the name.
65 with Adam Driver.
Okay.
I think if you watch it, you'll be like, oh shit. Because I watched it and, man, fuck it. God damn it. Now I got to.
Okay, all right.
I'm just going to go off on a little bit of this before we end this because we've probably been talking for enough, but
yeah.
Whatever. Okay, so premise. Have you seen anything about this movie at all?
No, completely new to me.
Oh, bruh. Okay, so check it out. So Adam Driver is from a planet, some other fucking planet. Okay, I forget the name of it. Whatever, irrelevant. He's from another planet, and he is he's a pilot, a spaceship pilot, and so essentially he is taking this crew of people from his planet to some other planet or whatever. He has a daughter that's sick, and so they're trying to get money to treat her, right?
Okay.
So he's taken this 2-year mission, and he's going to go to this other place, bringing these people. He's a pilot. So anyway, somewhere through this, he hits a fucking unplotted asteroid field or whatever, and he crash lands on this fucking planet. Okay? Well, everyone dies except for this one girl who is coincidentally from some other part of their planet, which he doesn't speak her language.
Okay.
You know, and you come to find out, like, his child somewhere along the flight died before he could even pay for treatment for her. And so you also come to find out that the planet that he crashed on is Earth. 65 million years ago. Also, coincidentally, their ship breaks up in atmosphere as he's entering, and so he crashes on one point. He thinks everybody's dead, and he finds one pod, you know, that had the little girl in it, essentially. And so they're trying to find the second part of the ship, which is crashed somewhere in the mountains, and it has the escape pods on it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, of course, there's fucking dinosaurs. This is 65 million years ago.
Yes, this is true.
So,
shit.
Yeah,
Holy
right?
Shit.
Right?
Okay.
So, as they're making their way there, he's got this thing, and he's starting to realize, man, there's a fucking meteor shower going on. Well, coincidentally, this is the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs 65 million years ago, and it's happening
What the fuck?
as he's trying to find his fucking escape pod to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Right? But he got stranded by that same asteroid field that produced the big one.
Right.
That wiped out the planet 65 million years ago. But what I found interesting was that they're not aliens like they could have been, right? Because they could have cast this entire thing as an alien species, and then they come to, and find Earth 65 million years ago. Like, you could have played this whole movie out as a fucking Star Wars alien, and it would have worked just as well, right?
Yeah.
But why did they use humans?
Right.
Like, why? And why is it that they're from some other planet that's very Earth-like, right?
Right.
And at the same time, very advanced. You know, obviously to the point where they're way more advanced. We are flying spaceships through the galaxy and shit. But I just found that interesting, that another one that deals with asteroid impacts, advanced civilizations, humans who were more advanced than we think we were, and this was 65 million years ago at the point of the dinosaurs. You need to watch it, and then
I'm gonna check that shit out.
And you'll probably see a lot more than I did just watching it yesterday.
Yeah.
But
I'll have to check it out.
I think it's worth a watch, especially since we're on the subject. And you'll probably be like, "Yo, what the fuck?" Like you'll probably see way more shit than I did.
No shit.
Yeah,
that sounds fun.
It actually it's a really good fucking movie, to be honest. But yeah, for sure.
The shit we're delving into, or bookmark, we should look at the Alex Jones shit. Alex Jones goes super hard on racial memory and Star Wars and Prometheus. So like this idea that your memory, all your ancestors' memories in your DNA. And
possible.
Even fucking Assassin's Creed touches on that shit.
So I don't know if it's as serious as like being able to recall individual memories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
However, you know, like Rogan talks about all the time, like, and I'm totally in agreement with this. You know, it's just like it's the reason why like like babies and kids are afraid of the dark. You know, and you're afraid of monsters under your bed. It's not because you're actually afraid of monsters. It's because, you know, thousands and thousands of years, like, you were scared of fucking big cats in the dark that would come and pull you away from your village and eat the fuck out you know, and pounce on you in the middle of the night, and fucking other savage tribes willing to kill you. Like, it's just a fear of bad things happen in the night, you know.
Well, like you have one of your
monsters happen in the night.
You have your primary sense go to shit.
Of course.
Like, it's no good, and only bad things happen when that happens. Like, you ever what was the Oh, you ever heard of the story about, or the study about the mice and the cherry blossoms?
No.
So this is how they kind of prove like anti-Darwinian theory of racial memory, was they took some grandparents, right, during their time, grandparent mice, you know, like they don't have kids yet, but they're going to be grandparents in the future, right? So take some mice and they just fuck with them. Just they play like sounds of like hawks and shit and whatever, and they get scared and they scurry. But every time they did it, they sprayed them with cherry blossom spray, or they had cherry blossom. So their head goes, every fucking time we see cherry blossoms, shit's about to get real. And so they were just fucking terrified of cherry blossoms. All right, they have kids. None of them ever see cherry blossoms. Smell cherry blossoms. Don't even know cherry blossoms exist. And they have kids, the grandkids. Remove them from the parents. The grandkids grow up. Cherry blossoms. What the fuck is going on? They already know. Cherry blossoms. Something fucked up. And they figured that out from a generation. One generation. Grandparents.
Right. I believe it.
The grandparents had a memory, and then they knew instinctively, like, what the fuck?
Well, man, I mean, life didn't make it this fucking long being stupid. I'm just saying, I think it's definitely kind of built in there somehow in the genetic code. I mean, dude, there's so much shit that people don't understand, it, how all this stuff is made and how it works. Right. I mean, it's highly plausible that that kind of stuff transfers in some way or another, and we just don't even notice it, or it's just that hyper vigilance for like change in patterns. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the two, but I mean, however it is, it works for sure. But you need to watch that shit.
Hell yeah,
it's
I'll
gonna
check
be
that
awesome.
shit.
It's cool. Either way,
You watch Boss Baby 2, I'll watch fucking 65.
I'll have to watch Boss Baby too.
And this is the litmus test I give for any movie that I put time into. This is a secret for anybody. You need to see competence before you go, this movie means something. Boss Baby 2, just look at how great the animation is, look how fast the cuts are, and you just go, the fucking people who made this movie are so fucking competent. I can put my time into this and know that they mean what they do. It's not like listening to Nirvana or like a baby hit if you hear a baby hit a piano, you go, wow, that's great jazz. It's like, no, it's a baby hitting a piano. But when a jazz player sounds like a baby hitting a piano, it's because he wants to sound like a baby hitting a piano. And you
True
go,
that,
and you
yeah.
go, why is he doing that? There's a reason. He knows why he's doing it. There's a reason. There's intent. So competence is indicative of intent. And if you have intent, then you have purpose. And then I'll spend fucking time watching your shit.
Indeed.
So, all right, that's that.
Word.
We'll see y'all again soon.
All right, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.